Hello, viewers. Welcome back. We have with us in this episode Ronita, who is a serious researcher of the Wiccan world. And from her, we will try to understand more about Wicca and the truth of it, which may help us to have a clearer picture and also do away with the untruths that float around about this way of life. Welcome to our channel, Ronita. How are you?
I'm fine. And how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm very, very interested to listen to you. And I'm sure our listeners would also be fascinated with what you have to tell them. My first question to you,
I shall
Ronita.
try my best.
Thank you. As I was asking you, my first question to you would be, what interested you into researching the subject of Wicca?
To be very honest, I was interested in natural elements, not exactly Wicca.
Okay.
But it is always believed that Wicca looks for you. You don't go to Wicca yourself. It is a belief. And this I knew. So a time came, probably that was the right time for Vika to have been looking for me. I reached there, you can say somewhat accidentally. And then I realized that it was a predestined plan.
So you took
it really did not interest me like that I liked it and I went there. No, it was not that.
All right. So let's get into the subject itself. What is the difference? I mean, for laymen like us, it's very important to understand what is the difference between witchcraft and Wicca.
Okay. Wicca is the path, it's a journey. You go along, it doesn't end.
Yes, a wise woman is a witch. A witch, she knows, she practices Wicca, which is again called witchcraft or the skills of the wise. She was the original wise woman. She was a shaman, the healer, the counselor, the lawyer, and she was a statesman of her community. So you can well understand that she was a threat to the menfolk. Consequently, their cropped up witch hunts.
So when you are in Wicca, and if you are taking knowledge from Wicca, say the natural elements, then the craft that you learn from there, it is the wise man's craft. It has got nothing to do with witches or anything like that. A witch, you can say that, then why do sometimes Wiccans call them witches, call themselves as witches? Mm-hmm. No, because they are considered to be higher up than normal existence of people. So I feel that witchcraft is something, it's the wise man's craft. So when you are reading, when you are taking knowledge about Wicca, that means you are gathering certain power. You are harnessing that power. And the crafts that you do, it's a tool.
Okay.
You practice something and then you go on with it with total belief in the natural elements. Then you feel that you are empowered. And that is witchcraft.
All right. Now, for laymen like us, Ronita, often we think of witches as harmful, right? People who cast spells, I mean, even in our Bengali society, তাদের ডাইনি বলা হয়. So, Wiccans ra to তা নয়. That is something that we have understood. So they practice white magic. So what is this white magic?
No, first I would tell you something about this word that you use, daini.
Yes.
This word daini has come from the word Diana, the goddess Diana.
Okay.
And And the goddess Diana, she is so powerful
Mm.
that if you invoke her, she does come to you in your times of crisis. And this word Dine or Daini has come from the word Diana. So
Okay.
many of us, I mean, even I didn't know, many of us, we really do not know this.
Right.
We look at the witch with a different perspective altogether.
Exactly what I was trying to say. Yes. So why do you think that happened? Why did the society start branding?
Yes, this is because of social beliefs, curses. People misinterpreted Wicca or the witchcraft or witches. So when the women, you know very well, or in fact all of us we do know that still today, though we talk of gender equality, still we do face problems. And Wicca believes in feminine power mostly. So when the Danes or when the women folk in the villages, they got empowered, men folk, they did not like it.
Okay.
So from that point of view, they were tortured, they were asked not to talk about it, not to do anything good. Like you said, white magic. Magic is never black or white. Magic is magic. It is how you use it. So you see, when a doctor is using a knife and when a murderer is using a knife, the tool is the same.
Right.
But they are using it to
different
are
purposes.
using it for their own purposes.
Right.
Because, I mean, magic is same. Magic cannot change. There is nothing called white magic or black magic. Wicca is mainly for healing. So, white magic or black magic, I don't know. But it is magic. Yes.
So, what is magic? I mean, how would you, kind of describe it to our listeners?
Yes. Again, I would say magic is the power that you harness in you. We all know. In every religion around the world, we all know that we have the power embedded inside ourselves. We have to raise that power. And that is magic, exactly.
So, Ronita, we did talk about this gender bias thing and how females, why in the rural, even in the urban areas, it's not like that if they become too powerful in any way. So, does it mean that Wiccans are always female, or is it a form of female energy?
No. It is not. Wicca, when you are invoking the elementals, there is no question of a female goddess only. There are gods as well. But yes, what we call, like even in Hinduism, when we say Adda Shakti, it is the Adi Shakti, the eternal mother from whose womb we have all emerged, nature. So
yes.
Wicca is that, and anybody can invoke, or anybody can practice, or anybody can worship. It is their choice. It's not for women folk only. I feel it that way.
Okay, so even men can be worshippers of the divine female form and harness the power of nature.
Absolutely.
So why is it that we often find that very well-known witches around the world, if they can be called witches or Wiccans, or those who practice Wicca, are often females?
This is a difficult question to answer. Maybe females have, they are a part of the eternal mother again. Females, because they are the mothers, probably they are carrying the part inside them, which is part and parcel of, say, nature again, the mother nature. So probably that can be the reason, but I really do not know the exact reason behind it. But this is my assumption.
Okay. So you have been, researching on this subject. Now, I want to share an experience with you because I was very interested in, finding people online. I was looking for people online, and I came across a lady who is a worshipper of Ma Kali. She calls herself a witch, and she's a modern woman, stays in India, and but she threatens people whenever there is a difference of opinion or with her peer group. Now, can anybody like that qualify to be a true Wiccan?
You see, commercialism is all around nowadays. So I'll not go into personal issues, but since it is commercial, people go to Wicca. I mean, they say that they are practicing the so-called Wicca, or they have found Wicca. It's my, I'm really, really doubtful. It is such a vast subject. It is not possible for one person to know Wicca in one life. You have to go in circles to journey through the path of Wicca. So the witch maybe you are about whom you are talking. I don't know her intentions, but yes, Ma Kali, if she's a worshipper, that is also a form of the female god, the mother goddess.
Yes.
So that's all right. Wicca doesn't stop you from that. Wicca is that, but that doesn't mean that she's going to terrorize people or she's going to talk wrong things. That is her personal issue. I'm not going into that.
No, but then can such a person be called a true Wiccan? My question was that. Wicca, what I have understood, Wicca or the way of Wicca is to do good, is to...
Always.
Yes. So, that is what. So such people are actually into commercialization. Is that what you're saying, Ronita?
Yes, I feel that way. I do not know exactly, but yes, probably that might be the reason.
Okay. So, shall I assume, or shall our listeners assume that Wiccans never practice black magic? Though you said there's nothing called black magic, I'll assume to harm other people. So, do you think Wiccans would never do that themselves?
No. Wiccans will never do that because Wiccans believe that if you do harm to somebody, it comes back to you three times of it. It's a strong belief in the Wiccans. So I don't believe that Wiccans can do black magic. They don't believe in that. Yes, if somebody does that, Wiccans have their ways to protect himself or herself from it.
Okay. And can they protect others? Do they...
that is again through healing.
Okay.
Again through healing, they can stop. Yes. That even you can do XYZ, anybody can do, because that is a power that you have to develop within yourself. And if you can do that, if you can raise that power, yes, even you can do. You don't need to be a Wiccan for that.
No, but then that's a very difficult thing, because whenever we think of healing, what kind of healing are we thinking of? We usually think of a very superficial kind of healing for which we run to doctors, but there is a deeper healing than that. So I would like you to talk a little bit about that. The deeper healing that we all require.
Okay. I can tell you about my personal experience, right?
Okay.
I keep dogs always. I had a dog who lived with me for 16 years. Okay. And from the 13th year, he was suffering. He couldn't walk properly.
Okay.
But I prayed, I did the healing. He was... So when I prayed for my dog, with all the energy that I had within me, I put all that into it. And then I was a bit surprised to see him walking in the morning. At 4 a.m. in the morning, I saw him walking and coming to my room from the drawing room.
Okay.
And this kind of power would do harness if you are concentrating. But I believe if it is Wicca, if it is even something else, Wicca, it's not only Wicca that shows you the way, it is everywhere. So it's always a manifestation of your power. So the goddess, the supreme power is one wherever you go. So the journey, the path, the way can be different.
Very true.
So I feel that yes, you can have a certain power if you really want to harness that, if you really want to aspire, if you really want to get that and aspire for it.
Ronita, so according to you, Wicca is a way of life. And
Yes.
does it embrace all religions?
Yes, it does. It believes in the supreme. So supreme power is one.
Okay.
It is just one. And the manifestations are many. So Wicca shows us that way, teaches us that.
Then why is there such a lot of secrecy about the Wiccan world? Very little is available even on the net. This is something that we heard earlier. And also when I tried to look up, I could hardly find, documentations of the Wiccan world. Why is there so much of secrecy or privacy, if I may call it?
Because Wicca doesn't want itself to be misinterpreted or misused, So it is a secrecy. Secrecy in the sense it doesn't hide the knowledge or anything of that kind. But yes, Wicca, you cannot buy Wicca, to be very honest. I mean,
Sorry?
if I put it that way.
I didn't understand. If you could repeat that, you cannot?
If I think that I'll just read books and I'll encourage and I become a Wiccan. It's not like that. I cannot buy that. I mean, just buying books, reading will not help me to become a Wiccan. I have to follow certain rules, regulations,
discipline.
Some kind of discipline, yes.
তো এটা একটা তপস্যা করার মতন জিনিস।
একদম, এটা সাধনা, এটা একটা সাধনা। Absolutely, এটা একটা সাধনা।
So when does one finally become a Wiccan, according to you?
This is a very difficult question, as I told you. If you really have to become a Wiccan, I think we have to go for you can't acquire everything in one life.
Really?
Sadhana jinishta, I'm not talking of Wiccans only. In general, sadhana is that I believe that wherever you have stopped in your past life, you start from there in the next life. So it goes in a cycle and the path goes on, the journey is on. So Wicca also tells the same thing. You cannot become a true Wiccan, or you cannot find the bottom of the Wiccan pot. It's such a vast thing.
The Wiccan pot.
Yes,
that's a very interesting term that you've used. Would you like to tell us a little more about that?
Like, suppose you consider a pot full of knowledge.
Right.
You can just suppose the knowledge is to the brim, and you are getting into it. Bookish knowledge is something, but and when you are reading, when you are taking the knowledge, your wisdom, it has to be absorbed with the energy. Then only it becomes complete. And it is not possible in one life. You cannot reach the bottom of the pot in one life. I mean,
That
It
is
is
true of,
unfathomable.
as you were saying, that's true for all kinds of,
Yes, yes.
progress of the soul, if we can call
Yes,
it.
whenever you are on a spiritual ladder,
Hmm.
I mean, you have to go on and on. In fact, we human beings, we do not know where it starts or where it ends.
True. So you would call the world of Wicca a world of complete spiritualism.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Because you are raising yourself,
Hmm.
you are climbing up, you are changing yourself, you are in the world, but you are detached. You look at the world, you just sit back and look at the world.
Hmm.
And you cannot do anything.
Hmm.
You are just either you watch, you are just a believer, a seeker, that's all. You are like a doll. Somebody is making you dance. And that is the cosmos, the mother, the nature,
The
whoever it
forces.
is.
Okay.
Yes.
So is it possible to progress on one's own? What does the Wiccan world feel? Or is it important to have a guide or a teacher?
A true Wiccan teacher will guide you in the sense that he or she, or the books can be guides as well. But they will just tell you what Wicca is, show you something, talk about the power of Wicca, talk about your achievements if you are really seeking to get something from Wicca. But it's a big but there. Suppose I am trying to get Wicca, a person similar to me is also trying, and we are taking the knowledge from the same set of books or same guru or same teacher or whatever. But our destination is also the same, but our pace will not be the same, because your power of absorption, your power of realization, your power of existence, all these factors vary from person to person. So
very well explained, Ronita. So true. That's true of any classroom, right?
Yes, it's just like a classroom. Teacher gives everything, but it depends on the individual who takes it. The receptive power, the realizations here, your readiness to accept that, and you have to be, again I would say, you have to be detached, which is a very, very difficult job for human beings.
Yes, just like আমাদের মানে হিন্দুইজমে যখন লোকে সন্ন্যাস নেয় তখন তারা আস্তে আস্তে নিজেদেরকে ডিট্যাচ করতে থাকে, and এমনকি নিজের লাস্ট রাইটসও করে দেয়, শ্রাদ্ধ করে। So is there something similar to that in
yes,
Wicca?
that austere practice, yes. Shonnash, that means, what is Shonnash? That phase of Shonnash is preparing you to enter that world of spirituality, to enter that higher level of spirituality. And you can change your mind in those years as well.
Right.
Wicca also does the same thing. Wicca doesn't tell you that you come. Wicca might show you the way. You can get the knowledge. You have your own ways. But again, you have to do the thing. You have to get the power. You have to achieve yourself.
So ultimately, one is on one's own. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, one is on one's own. The guide, the teacher, the books, they provide you with all the knowledge, with all the guidance probably. But again, like in a class, you know very well, we give the guidance to the students. One student is coming first, another student is performing on an average basis.
Exactly.
But we are giving the same to everybody.
And some may
So
fall
it's-
behind and drop out completely.
Yes, 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 yes.
So,
Yes.
just like in a classroom, there are different tools, like the book or the pen. So, are there tools which are used to practice Wicca?
No, no. Tools at the initial phase, you are not supposed to use any tools. You don't need tools.
Hmm.
Yes, Vika has tools, but we don't. But practitioners, very senior people might need. But yes, tools.
I've heard about
first thing-
crystals.
The crystal is exactly not a tool. Crystal
Okay.
is a medium.
Okay,
Crystal is like we use in Hinduism. You use Rudraksh.
right.
You use crystals. Photik you use.
Hmm.
Why? Because that raises your spirit when you are
Okay.
doing your sadhana or whatever.
Hmm.
So crystals are basically some kind of a medium
Hmm.
which brings your concentration. But yes, crystals have their own lives. Each
Hmm.
crystal has its own identity,
Hmm.
and they need respect. They want respect. So if you are treating them in the proper way, they also guide you.
Okay.
You exactly cannot call them tools.
Okay. So I stand corrected. So they are a medium and through which one progresses. And
Yes.
so, what kind of a life does a crystal have, and how will one know that this is the crystal for me?
This is a very difficult question because for normal people, you know, crystals are sold around the world, you know that.
Yes.
Especially in the Western world, people have been using crystals for years and years. Crystals will give you the feeling, the understanding, the clarity of mind. And I cannot explain this to you. You have to understand, you have to feel,
So
you have to ask for the blessings of the goddess, and you have to do it yourself.
Okay. So what is for me may not be for another. Is
Pardon?
that what? Are you saying that something that may work for me may not work for another person? I mean, per se,
Yes.
a crystal. Yeah.
Work. It has the power to work,
Hmm.
but it depends on how you are working with it. I mean, how powerful you are. Suppose when we are cooking, I'm giving you an example. Ingredients are all the same.
True.
You might cook a delicious dish with the same ingredients. I might not be able to cook to that level of taste.
Ronita, that's so wonderfully put and something that we can all understand.
So crystal is also the same. So you may wear it, I mean, may use it for decoration, your liking or whatever. You may not try to read the crystal or may not try to recognize or realize the power of the crystal. Or you fail to understand its power, its signals. Anything, if you want a signal from nature, any object from nature, if you from the air, from the mountain, from a stone, from a tree, you have to be detached mentally for that period of time. You have to concentrate, meditate. You cannot do it without that. With many things in mind, you cannot achieve that kind of concentration. To listen to the birds, understand them. To listen to the trees and understand them. To listen to the air and read signals. You cannot do that.
So, are you saying that every element of nature has an energy of its own?
Yes, yes, yes. And that energy, is part of nature's energy.
So how does one harness this energy?
By practice. The first practice is your concentration, your love for that energy. and then you practice like you see people doing yoga.
So is
But-
it true that people can see that aura of that energy actually
Yes.
around some people,
Yes,
and
they can.
and can it be seen for oneself as well, or can
Yes.
one feels it only?
No, you can. You can.
Can you talk about it a little, please?
Here I won't talk much because this is something which one has to realize on his own, or whoever is practicing.
Okay.
But yes, you must have seen that when we look at saints, or when we look at, say, when you are climbing the mountains, you are going higher up, you might come across an ascetic who has been practicing for, say, many years, maybe 100 years. So you would be able to see the aura around him. But to see an aura, this much I can tell you, to see an aura, you have to reach to that level of existence. Then only you can see.
So it has to be there for both the people.
Both, yes, yes, yes. Yes.
Okay, so not everybody. I can't see the aura of somebody who is evolved. It will be hidden from my eyes. I understand.
Yes, absolutely.
So don't you think researchers like you, Ronita, should document or preserve the details of this ancient practice?
I don't have the desire to document. I have my own journals to write down my experiences, but I believe in one thing, যে সাধনাটা যার যার একার, একান্ত আপন. This is not to be shared. This is not to be shared. You can give traits of it. You can guide people. এটা করো. But I will not share my experiences with them, because Karur experience, it can be of a much higher level. I don't think people will understand as well. And it is not to be done.
Okay.
You know that the sannyasis, they don't do that. They don't talk of their power. If you can gauge their power, it's well and good. If you can't, then also well and good. So,
no, what I meant is that the discipline of this way of life, as I said, it is not available readily. Just like for any way of life, we all know that some religions are a way of life, and there are certain, documentations. So do you think for Wicca to survive the test of time, this is required?
Perhaps experts might give some traits of it, some documents of it, like we have of the Hindu texts, or maybe we have deciphered certain things from stones hundreds of years ago from the civilizations which are gone.
Right.
So perhaps it can be like that, but I don't know in detail about how it can, or I have never thought on it that how it can be done.
So how do you think the baton passes on of this particular practice from one teacher to another, or from one follower to another? How will the Wiccan tradition be carried forward?
To tell, here I have a point that if Wicca wishes that Wicca will continue herself, I'm saying herself because I look
it's
at
a female
Wicca as part of nature, as a part of nature. So if Wicca wishes that she wants it to continue, she will have her way out. Nobody can predict, nobody can say.
Okay.
So it doesn't fall into any compartment or any set rules.
Okay, so what you're trying to say that it is not dependent on a few people, but it is
No.
there.
Yes.
It is already there. It exists, and it has a
Yes.
life of its own or an existence of its
Yes.
own.
Absolutely. It has an existence of its own.
Thank you so much, Ronita. That was so profound that I think I was getting goosebumps listening to you. And I think a lot of misconceptions have been or would be erased from the minds of people when they hear you talk. And because maybe your touch with Wicca has given you these deep insights, which so many of us don't have. And when we visualize witches, we only think of their long hats that they wear and the black robes that they wear. So, is it possible that witches or Wiccans, however we call them, they are existing between you and me, perhaps?
Yes. 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 Wicca means, as I said, witchcraft. It's the wise man's craft. So if you are wise, you become a witch.
True. Very true.
And you can do powerful things, something different from others.
And it necessarily doesn't have to be the magic that we understand.
No. Anything is magic.
True.
Anything is magic. Like, what do we do every day? Suppose I find a stone, or I find something on the road. Don't we express it as we say, just as magic? I've got this. Don't we say this?
Absolutely.
So magic. The word magic. The meaning has been misinterpreted.
Right. Thank you so much, Ronita, and thanks a lot from all our listeners. So we are the Ghosts Incorporated, and we try to bring to you deep understanding from discussions that we have on this channel. So please like, subscribe, and share if you like today's episode. Thank you very much. Stay connected.